Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And I just want to take a quick moment to thank everybody for tuning in yesterday. Everyone who donated to the We Are the Fledge kind of 15-hour live broadcast of all kinds of different things. So thanks a lot. We got a lot of support. We'll be sending out messages throughout the next few days. Today, to describe myself, I've got brown hair, brown eyes. I've got my headset on. I'm wearing Greenwood District Studios t-shirt. They're out by the Lansing Mall and the old Lansing Mall Theater, making a whole film studio. And I am sitting in the sanctuary of the Fledge, so you'll see a lot of art behind me that's not mine this time. And today on the show, we have our great friend, Jordan. How you doing, Jordan?
Fantastic. How are you, man?
I'm doing spectacular. I've been sitting in the same seat for 15 hours straight yesterday and getting ready to go home and relax a little bit. So
sounds comfortable.
It is actually. So you've been having a busy day, right?
Yeah.
Got up early?
Yeah. No, not today. Not today. So the weekends I don't really get up early. I don't know. I guess early is by perception. Weekdays is like 4 a.m. Weekend is like 6 a.m. So that's kind of sleeping in for me. But by the way, I don't want to miss my chance to introduce myself because
please.
So I am Jordan. I am joined with my lovely brown hair. I am middle age, I guess, is 33. 33 years old. Wearing a hoodie in my beautiful office. I did not remember my cape or my trident, but this is the next closest thing I can have.
Well, you don't need it till the bat phone rings or whatever, right?
Yeah, I just silenced it actually. So
33 is middle age. What the hell am I?
Well, man, I don't know. I don't even know how old you are.
I'm 54.
Jesus, you're old.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, I don't really know. Back in high school, I wrote they had me write a paper, and it was my biology class, and it was like when my idea was, when is a person officially over the hill? Like what can you put a fact to be able to say that? And that was where I came to the conclusion that 30 years old is when you don't deteriorate, but you physically stop growing. So, and your mental cognition stops growing, it plateaus. So that was my, you're cresting the hill at that point. So when I went to go turn 30 years old, I was terrified. I thought the world was going to go away. That's
hilarious. Now, looking back at 30 now, I mean, that seems so young, so young. So let's get into you a little bit. Tell us about you, where you were born and raised and went to school, and how you got to high caliber karting.
All right. So I grew up in Sunfield, Michigan, this tiny little village. And I mean, it was a beautiful little community in my youth. That everybody was helping everybody raise the kids in the town. We all kind of went from house to house. It was basically free range childhood. And I spent, I would say, 90% of my life in the village woods, building forts with my friends and hunting and fishing and trapping and doing stuff like that. I loved the outdoors. I went to high school at Lake Odessa. My neck was beet red when I was going there. If you look at my senior picture, it's actually, I'm wearing a straw cowboy hat, a button up, Jinko jeans, Etnies shoes with spurs on it, tipping over porta potty. And that about summarizes my youth.
So in Sunfield, did you know Max Kuhn?
No.
Do you know who that is? He's somebody that was from Sunfield that I talked about on the show yesterday. So it's just Just a small coincidence.
Yeah, David interviewed yesterday. He's from Sunfield. Yeah.
Is he from Sunfield?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I didn't even really realize that.
Yeah, he graduated with my brother. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that your brother and him were good friends, or I think they were.
Yeah.
So you graduate from Lake Odessa,
Mm-hmm.
and you go off to school, I think, right?
Man, right away. It was like I didn't even take a summer. It was like 3 days after I graduated. I was loading up my car and heading to. I went to school at University of Northwestern Ohio in Lima. Went there chasing dreams of grandeur with racing, automotive high performance. That was my direction. That was what I was going to do with my future, because I've been a gearhead forever. I mean, I used to race around with my quads, work on those all the time. It starts with pedal bikes like it does with just about any kid, and RC cars and things like that. Maybe even go before that to the Tonka trucks or whatever, and it just stayed with me forever. And so yeah, I went to school there. I went to school there for 3 years. It's funny. I was actually talking with my employees about this the other day. They're like, how did high caliber karting come up? And I'm like, well, it's kind of the legal version of what I did in college. So University of Northwestern Ohio is a bunch of guys, and they are all pretty much identical. We all love fast cars, and we all love Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and like on breaks, we either smoked or chewed tobacco, and we drank every single night. And when we drank. We saw who could drink the most alcohol for sure. It was, that was the thing. So the one that I really correlated to was I was really big into hosting parties. I like to get people to just get out and have fun. And I also found that people had the most fun when they were drinking. So I was always encourager of binge drinking during that time. So beer pong, that was by far my game. So it started in my apartment complex. I started building beer pong tables that had LEDs that were pressure sensitive underneath every cup, and it had dispensers. You'd flip the switch and you could fill up the cups and stuff. And on my wall, it had 10 feet tall by 12 feet wide, the 10 commandments of beer pong, which was basically the rules for the house. And I would host these championships. And as I started doing it, I mean, we'd get hundreds of people out. You couldn't walk through the apartment complex. Police got called every single time, but it was a ton of fun. 2 years later was kind of it was the end of what Ohio was going to be for me. We went, three of my buddies and I, we had rented a house just outside of town, probably 20 minutes or so outside of the school. And this house, I mean, it was a shithole. I mean, the floors were just crooked and this house should have been ripped down, but it's perfect for 4 college kids, right? And we were broke as hell. It was all we could afford. And the landlord was really cool. He's just one of those good old boy old men that was these kids are gonna be assholes, but oh well, it'll be fun to watch type of thing. So they had this big barn room type of thing on the back of the house. I would say it was probably 18 feet wide by 30 feet long. That may be a little bit bigger, but or it may have been a little bit smaller than that, but just for figurative size, right? Decent sized room. He goes, yeah, the roof on this has issues. The floor's collapsed. I'm going to rip it down. We're no. Don't rip it down. We'll fix it. We'll fix everything on it. So we spend all winter fixing this place up, and we end up turning it into our bar. We put this wraparound bar in there, and we put all these beer pong tables in there. And we've got it goes to the outside, and right out the back, there's a patio set with a fire pit and whatnot. And, well, I say patio set. It was chairs we found on the side of the road and shit. And we were getting ready to christen this thing, and I'm like, you know what? I want to have a really big party for this one. Well, where I was working, right next door, the Marathon gas station was going out of business. And I went over there, and I had a fake ID. And I was like, how much for all your liquor? And they were like, I don't know, make us an offer. I said, $350. I'll buy all your liquor. It was literally my paycheck, because I got paid every 2 weeks. Everything I had, oh, it's going to be so worth it. So I bought all their liquor. So you think I have a gas station's liquor inventory, and I buy 3 kegs, and I tell the entire college, free alcohol, let's have some fun. That night was one of the most fun nights I've ever had in my life. I walked away, since I was head of household, I had 117 MIPs charged against me. The SWAT showed up, the dog showed up. I ran away. They caught me. They brought me back. I ran away again. We ended up, long story short, I won't go into the details for it, but the police station had made some pretty major mistakes. So when they went, they pulled me out of my exam. They called me on my cell phone and they said, all right, you can either come in or we're going to come get you. I'm like, oh, come on. I'm like, let me finish my exam. They're like, no, you're coming now. Okay, I'm on my way. Get in my car, I drive there, and I walk in there, and I had evidence of a lot of misbehavings of what had happened in relation to it. And he goes, you're going to go in jail for a long time. And I slid my phone across the table and said, no, I'm not, because I'm coming back after you if you do that. And he slid the phone back to me and goes, get the fuck out of the state. I said, okay, see you later. And I left Ohio. Came back to Michigan and then started working for Firestone Complete Auto Care and going to school at Michigan State University, where I grew up.
Wait, what with the cop? I didn't understand that part.
So the cop had the hots for my girlfriend, the responding officer, and he was sharing a lot of stuff he wasn't supposed to be sharing with the general public about things. And with that, very passionate about why he's going to take extra effort to make sure that I go to jail, along the lines of he was interested in her.
Yeah.
Luckily, my girlfriend was smart enough to encourage those things to keep coming, gave me all that information. I shared that with the police chief, and that closed that situation down pretty quick.
So. All right, I get it now. So you come back to Michigan State.
So I go to Firestone, and I graduated from Northwestern, very close with the deans and the teachers, top of the class type of thing. Had a great relationship with them, represented the school as an ambassador and things like the Mira Show, Mobile Electronics Retailer Association stuff. Like, I loved it there, and I was sad to go. So I came back and I came working. I got a job working for Firestone Complete Auto Care over on Saginaw Highway, right next to the Lansing Mall, just as pretty much an entry-level technician. Now, I had no idea that I knew a lot about cars. I thought I'm a fresh guy out of college. Like, they ended up offering me like $13 an hour or something like that, and I accepted it. And then I got there to start working and found out that I was doing the things that the guys making like $25 an hour are doing. Like, damn it! Like, suck it! I suck at valuing myself apparently, but I didn't care. I was still having fun. I didn't need the money, and within a couple. God, it was probably 2 months in. They were like, "Hey, we'd really like to see you move up in this company. You'd be fantastic in this." And I was like, "Well, I'm thinking about going back to school. They're like, go back to school for something related to business." And I was like, "All right, I'll go back to school. If you pay for it." And they were like, "Okay." Oh shit, these guys are serious. That company's owned by Bridgestone. Wonderful company to work for. Fantastic. Taught me pretty much everything I know about business. But so I started attending Michigan State University. It was pain. It really sucked because I had 174 credits from University of Northwestern Ohio, 7 transferred. So I had to start all over again at Michigan State. So I take that back. I found that out. I went to LCC, did LCC for like a year and a half. I was taking 16 to 20 credits per semester, and then transferred to Michigan State University. And I remember at the time I didn't know what to get a degree in. And I remember calling my mentor at Bridgestone and said, "Dude, what should I be getting a degree in?" He goes, "I don't give a shit. You can get a degree in underwater basket weaving. Just get a goddamn degree so I can put you in the job you're supposed to be in." Because they had prerequisites about how much education you had. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I got this degree in, it's on the wall over there. Interdisciplinary Studies in Human Capital and Society. Don't know what that means, but hey, there's a diploma over there. So probably was the best thing for me. My brother always told me once I would leave Lake Odessa that the corn cob would fall out of my ass. And I never really understood what he meant by that. But then going through this course, I did. A lot of this course was focused on the rest of the world, not Lake Odessa, Michigan, not University of Northwestern Ohio, which is just a really big Lake Odessa, Michigan type of thing. It was the Middle East. It was, Japan. It was Europe. And the societal issues that are happening there and how that affects the people that it's happening to there. And that really opened my eyes to how narrow-minded I was and continue still to be. I don't know if I'll ever be able to understand the complexities of this world. But that was a good thing. That made me grow up really quickly. During that time, I was moving up. I was actually running that Firestone store Met my now wife, had my now daughter, Leah. We bought a foreclosed house, when I was first dating her, I was buying the house. Bought a just black mold foreclosed house, remodeled the whole thing, built a big shop in the back because I wanted to build my race car. So that was, to have my own space, to be able to do that stuff. And then after I graduated, I took a job over in Chicago with Bridgestone. They promoted me to a area manager. And I was going to go take over locations from Decatur, Illinois, all the way up to Naperville, Plainfield area. So it was like a 4.5 hour span, north-south in Illinois. But I went and I moved into the suburbs of Chicago. I fell in love with it. Absolutely loved it there. Everybody there is competitive, and everybody there knows more than you do. And they may not, but they probably do. And I went there and found out real quickly that I'm no hot shit. I'm just learning, and met some wonderful people who just guided me, gave me direction. We performed great. They promoted me into another division of it. And they put me through a program called Advanced Frontline Leadership, where the different heads of the different divisions of Bridgestone, so textiles, manufacturing, transportation, whatever, they flew me around once every month to meet with these heads of all these different companies in the hopes to promote me, to move me into C-suite position in the future, just mentor me there. Their whole thing was, you are the perfect example of, you started at the bottom of our company and you're just moving along this way with us. And we would love to have that as something that we see run this company, because you'll understand the gravity of everything. So they wanted to teach me an enterprise perspective. And they were so good to me. They taught me so much, and they pushed me and pushed me and pushed me. My wife did not like Chicago. She was very clear that it wasn't her place to be. And she is a very compassionate and caring individual that loves social connection. And Chicago doesn't really care about you. So it makes sense. So we moved back to Michigan. I took over half of Michigan roughly, until I started working for their commercial division and doing commercial tires, covering half the state as well. And during that time, realizing that I needed to do something for myself. The company was changing a lot, and it was getting more about the less about working as together, development and having connections and having conversations, and more about checking boxes. And it just started really getting to me. And I remember it was right towards the end. There was a job that had posted up, and it was in their, they were doing a merger with Pep Boys. They had acquired Pep Boys, and they had posted a job for the person to be in charge of that merger. And I was by no means qualified for the job, not even the slightest stretch of the imagination. But there's one thing that I'm confident about myself, is that I can do whatever I put my mind to better than anybody else. I just have to have the vehicle to go there. And I was willing to take on this challenge, and I would do better than anybody that could have in that role. And so I was like, all right, how am I going to get the attention of this? I need to, and the hiring manager was the president of the company. So I wrote a letter and I mailed it to him. I said, this is who I am. This is what my journey is. And I'm telling you right now, I will not waste your time. Give me 5 minutes of your time, and I'll convince you that I am the best person for this job. 3 days later, I had heard that it had been made its round around the company and whatnot. And one of my buddies, he's like, hey, so your letter is making a lot of ruckus up here at the corporate office. Yeah? How so? And he goes, not in good ways, Jordan. You overstepped chain of command. You'll be getting a disciplinary phone call from Human Resources later today. Be prepared. And I was just like, man, I'm out. Can't do this. And shortly thereafter that, my immediate supervisor, we were talking. He's like, Jordan, you need to get back in the box. He's like, just keep your head low for a while. Stop trying to think outside the box. Stop trying to be creative, and just check the boxes. And that's where my career died there. I couldn't do that anymore. So I started, at that point, I actually started an automotive repair company. So I would work for Bridgestone during the day, and they knew about it the whole time. My numbers were great. My performance was fantastic. It was of the top in the nation. So their whole thing was, cool, if you want to go do the both, we don't care. So I worked from like 7 in the morning till 6 or 7 at night, and then I'd come out to the shop and I would work on people's vehicles from 7 until midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was doing that for a while. My whole thought was that I would do that until I make enough money really to open a go-kart track. I always wanted to do that. It just sounded like a fun, like, this is going to be sweet. Like, I love doing that stuff. And I like taking people to go do that stuff. So and you can stop me if I'm going too long here.
No, it's good. It's good. Let's go.
So I'm doing this automotive repair thing, and it's performing really well. I'm buying property. I'm looking at expanding into better locations, buying a shop. I have more business than I can handle. I'm trying to bring people on. I'm hired 2 people, and I was actually my wife had won. She's okay. I said if I put my mind to anything, I can do it better than anybody else. She's the exclusion to that. There's nothing that if she puts her mind to that I can beat her in. So the job she was in, there was this contest where we could win a trip to Grenada, and she was like, "I'm going to win this contest. So just so you know, I'm going to disappear for like 4 months to go win this." Like, cool, go get it. Of course, she wins it. So her and I got to go to Grenada, and it was like 3 days in. She's getting ready to go film. They were doing these like training videos and stuff like that there. And I was just a depressed mess. Here I am in Grenada for free with my beautiful wife who's ultra successful. Why do I just hate what's going on? And she was like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, I'm not happy where I'm at right now. I just don't like what I'm doing. She's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" I just want to open a fucking go-kart track. And she goes, "Then do it." And I'm like, "Man, we had this conversation 2 years ago. You didn't support it all." My parents thought, "No way, there's no chance in hell. Like, you're not going to do that. Like, it's not a thing." And she's like, "Jordan, in the last 2 years, you started your own company and you learned a lot and you've changed a lot. I support you 100%. Okay. So we left, and I came home, and I was like, "All right, I'm going to call and talk to my parents." Because I very much value my parents' opinion. They have been nothing but fantastic guides for me in my life. They've never forced me into a perspective. They question my thoughts to let me get to where I want to be, or where I should be. So I called them up and said, "Hey, thinking about going, dropping Modern Mechanics, leaving Bridgestone, and starting a go-kart track." And they go, "Yeah, okay. Do you need investors?" And I'm like, "What the hell? 2 years ago, you told me no way in hell." Like, "No, we watched you grow. Same story. We've seen you grow. We've seen who you've become. Like, we know you'll be confident in this." And so started like liquidating, Bridgestone. I did really well at Bridgestone. They took really good care of me. So I was liquidating my assets. I had a second house. I had a vacant, 8 acres of vacant land. We got rid of that, cashed out my 401k, pulled all the equity out of the house, sold all of my ATVs, 4-wheelers, my vehicles, went from a 2018 Impala, because this was 2018, to a 06 Silverado, just made this mass change. And I started recruiting people and whatnot for the project. Like, I shouldn't say recruiting people, just thinking about people that I experienced with in life. And there was, we had this thing every year called Day of Man. And Day of Man it's this day where a bunch of guys come out to my property, and I've got an outdoor racetrack here for like quads and side-by-sides and stuff. And we race that, and the entry fee is a pound of bacon and enough meat to feed 2 men. Buy a bunch of alcohol, a bunch of beer and stuff like that. We all drink, people get high, and we race stuff, and people blow stuff up with tannerite, shoot guns. I mean, it's so great. And I would always, every year, I had this award, and it was this guy who's just ripping his chest off, going Hulk, and it was the man of the year. And there was things you could do to earn points and stuff based off of your lap times and whatnot. And stupid shit you do, like the 0-turn slip and slide and stuff, like how long you could hang on for that. And, that started getting really big. Well, one year I was like, okay, I want to race people, and I want to be able to shoot them and slow them down. Like, I want to play real life Mario Kart. And I'm a big hobbyist with electronics. Like, back in Northwestern Ohio, that was my thing. Like, I loved electronics. And so I'm like, okay, I can buy this little eBay laser kit, and I put it on it and then whatnot. And I buy 4 dirt bikes, and I've got, the land and whatnot with the racetrack. And I'm like, all right, if I interrupt the ignition circuit, when they get shot, then it's going to pulse the ignition. It'll misfire the engine, cause it to slow down, horribly damaging the engine. But I don't care. It's one day. And so everybody shows up, and no, I'm sorry. Before that, this day, man, we didn't have that. We had paintball guns.
Oh.
So we put paintball guns on the front of the dirt bikes with remote CO2 tanks and hoppers. But everybody showed up and nobody wanted to do it. They're like, I don't want to get shot by a paintball while I'm racing a dirt bike. God, so much for Day of Man, right? So nobody ends up doing it. And unfortunately, some of the seals started blowing and whatnot, so people weren't able to that came in later. So after I'm done sitting there, I'm like, man, what the hell am I going to do? I got these 4 dirt bikes. I put all this money, I get this racetrack. Like, how am I going to do this? And that's where, the electronics kicked in and being able to shoot each other and whatnot. And it was like a week later, it worked. It functioned. I could shoot somebody and it would slow down. And in the meantime, I'm talking with like the manufacturers of the carts and the barriers and stuff like that, and about what I'm doing. We have a good relationship, so I'm just like, yeah, we were doing this, we were shooting each other, and it slows it down. They're like, wait, what are you doing? And I told them about it, and they're like, could you do that on a go-kart? Like, oh yeah, for sure, I could do that in a heartbeat. And they're like, yeah, just play with that real quick. So I go in the house and I grab all my electronics together, and I got a steering wheel with 2 buttons, and I have it working a day later. Like, I still got a video of my daughter at like 5 years old playing with it and whatnot. And so I was like, yeah, I got it working. And they're like, listen, like, this could have some pretty good implications in the karting industry. Like, people would like this. Yeah, okay. Maybe I'll build it for myself. And so I'm working on it, and I realize it's way more in depth than what I thought it was going to be. My brother starts talking to me about bringing on using a Raspberry Pi. And this was Pi 2 territory, I think, right? It had just came out. And so I look into it, and I realize that I got to learn how to code. And I'm like, cool. All right, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to learn how to code. I'm going to start learning software. And, that way I can build this thing, because this is going to be really fun. And I realized really quickly, like, holy shit, that's a whole nother, that's another career. Like,
yeah,
I can't do that. Like, yeah, I'm sure I can do it, but I got this karting thing I'm trying to do. So whatever. I'm like, you know what? Kevin Beesbrock would do this. And Kevin and I were friends. He was actually a customer at Firestone of mine, and we became friends. I was like, he would do a really good job at this. So, but he's so nice. I couldn't ask him if he wanted to do it, because he'd just say yes. I could be like, hey, Kevin, can you cut your arm off with a spoon? He'd be like, yeah, sure. Oh, God. Like, he's the nicest guy in the world. And so I put this vague post out on social media of like, hey, working on a Raspberry Pi project. Anybody, can anybody interested in helping? 3 minutes later, there's Kevin, sends me a message. Hey, what are you working on? We hadn't talked in like 5 years at this point. I said, I'll come over Friday and I'll show you. So long story short, I go to his house with this huge box of electronics, this business plan that's like this thick for the karting thing. I slam it down. I go, I want to build real life Mario Kart on his kitchen table. And he goes, oh my God, I'm in. I said, all right, no, you're not yet. Come with me. Get in the truck. So we drive over to Grand Rapids Grand Prix. We race go-karts. I kick his ass. And he's like, man, I just wanted to pass you on this, blah, blah, blah. I was like, imagine if you could have shot me. If it slowed down my cart so you could have shot me. And he's like, man, this is going to be sweet. And from there, we started building that and realized like, oh shit, we have to have a go-kart track to test this on. So, okay, I'm going to go build high caliber karting. So we have a test bed, right now I'm back on combat karting, trying to work that thing up as we're getting ready to release the final manufactured product and stuff like.
Yeah. So tell us about high caliber karting, because maybe not everybody has been out there or even. Yeah.
So high caliber karting is an indoor adult playground. We're not exclusive to adults, but kids got places to play all over the place. You got trampoline parks, movie theaters, parks, zoos. Adults go to bars. It's pretty much what we got. To have fun, I guess. You can go to a museum, enjoy it and stuff like that, but to let your inhibitions loose. So I decided to make 80,000 square foot of that. Put a bar in there. We'll put a restaurant in there. While we're there, let's put 2 tracks with high-speed go-karts. Let's throw axes. Do axe throwing there. Recently, we added rage rooms, so you can go in and you can smash the shit out of stuff and just vent your frustrations, or just it's kind of fun to swing a sledgehammer into a television. We got racing simulators, the 9-axis full motion, like designed to train people how to race cars. Pocket soccer. And right now we're working on 25,000 square foot expansion, which we're going to have the sweetest freaking bar there. We hired a entertainment designer who he does like immersive entertainment spaces. So, it's just LEDs and cool graphics and stuff everywhere. We're going to do 26 lanes of foaling. We are going to do, I'm told I can't call it the combat arena because it's confusing with combat karting, but we have this room. It's 72 feet long by 38 feet wide that is going to have all these vines dropping down from it, turf on the ground, windows on both sides, and you can grab Nerf guns and have a Nerf battle, airsoft guns, play airsoft, or archery tag, which is 28-pound recurve bows, carbon shaft arrows with a foam tip, and you just blast people in the face as they run around. It's oh my God, it's so much fun. It's exhausting, but it's so much fun.
So you opened up when? In
September of 2019 was
right.
when we opened the doors.
Yeah. And then COVID in March of 2020. Yeah. So you got about 5 months of just killing it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, and we did like it. In the beginning, it was a lot of figuring it out and stuff. I shouldn't say in the beginning, it was a lot of figuring it out. It's still a lot of figuring it out. It will always be a lot of figuring it out. But we didn't know what we didn't know. We were as prepared as we could have been. And when the holidays came, holy crap, we were so busy. I mean, like we could have never dreamed of. We were doing more in a month than we thought we would do in 6 months. And it was going well. It's going very well. January and February continued that trend. March 13th, we started seeing a little bit of dip. I remember we were filming. I don't remember if we were filming or if we were just getting photos for like a asset register. And one of the guys, Curtis with Optic Films, Curtis Hall, he's like, hey, like he showed up. I was like, Curtis, and like I'm, went to give him a hug. He's like, no, can't do that, dude. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, dude, we're traveling, whatnot. Like, this is coming. Just so you know. I'm like, yeah, okay, it's coming. He's like, no, Jordan, it's coming. Like, you can think what you want. It's coming. And I was like, all right, Curtis, I like you. And, went whistling along my way. And 3 weeks later, they're like, hey, you're closed for business. I'm like, oh, shit, he was right. And yeah, then it just, we were closed. And we were closed until like July or August. We opened up, and like the day we were scheduled to open up, they suddenly changed their mind and said, no, you can't open. And I'm like, nope, we fit in this category here that says it can be open. We've invested $250,000 in preparation. We've been identified as one of the most COVID prepared companies in the world, because the way I looked at it was, I don't know whether this is a big deal or not, but God damn it, if I'm wrong, if I take it like it's not a big deal and I'm wrong, that's a really shitty thing, because then I just killed a lot of people. If I'm right, that it was all a hoax or it wasn't serious to be worried about or whatever, that means the entire world was able to unite on something in less than a year, which gives hope for world peace. If you can unite for something like this, you can unite for something like that. I'm like, you know what, this is gonna be a great world. Let's go ahead. In that time, I almost died, got, crashed a dirt bike, ended up in the ICU for a couple weeks, couldn't walk for 4 months, but that's good now. Again. So, and then, then we got closed down. I got a cease and desist letter. Said, nope, you can't operate. I said, okay, loud and clear. Shut it down. We were shut down till the beginning of November. We reopened in November. Just started getting the ball rolling again. Right before Thanksgiving, they shut us down again until December 26th. We've been open since December 26th.
Yeah. And you've been working on the expansion and getting the tech. Well, the tech's ready. You're getting it buildable, I guess, for the high caliber karting stuff.
Yeah, it's being used. So if you want to do combat karting, so you race around on one of our tracks, you gain weapons, power-up shields, things like that. You shoot your opponents, it lights up. You have a heads-up display that you can see through. It tells you your weapon, your ammunition counts, what lap you're on, what position you're in, how much points you have, when you have a shield available. It's just 2 buttons on the steering wheel. When you shoot somebody, they light up red. When you get shot, you feel your cart slow down. When you have the shield on, you're impervious to shots, and you get a speed boost. And if you shoot them, it deflects their shots, and you lose points. They gain points and stuff. Yeah, it's really fun. But we hand soldered all that shit. Now it's manufactured boards and stuff like that actually should hold up to people hitting each other at Mach 500.
So I had the honor of being invited in for a few races and to give you feedback. And I just want to tell everybody, this was one of the funnest things I've ever done. I mean, in this arena, of entertainment. You and I have talked before about, the economy of experience and the move or you had talked about the move towards an economy of kind of transformation.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about that at all? Because I
So,
think it's fascinating.
honestly, this is fascinating because I'm curious how much COVID will impact and change this economy. So right before COVID, the direction was moving towards I value experiences more than mere material possessions. We saw this through ride sharing, Airbnb are two wonderful examples of that. People don't want to own, they just want to be able to go experience. So, the idea is, you create an experience. So when you go to High Caliber, it's not just there's things to do. Like, people engage with you. You go race around that track, somebody's screaming at you to go faster or whatnot around when you go around the corner, and they're like throwing their hands in the air when you do overpasses and stuff. Like, we engage with people. We have fun. Like, we're there to have fun. Like, it's our job, but we're having fun. COVID took away socialization from us. We adapted. We found this video calls, things like that. We picked up the phone more often. But I've noticed that people are lacking that affinity for socializations. We're very social creatures, and I think it's just getting back comfortable with it. Like, what is okay? When somebody shows up, and I mean, like, somebody comes to your house or something like that you haven't seen in a while, the first thing is are they putting out an elbow? Are they putting out a fist? Are they putting out a hand? Or are they opening up arms? Like, at what level of comfort do they have? And based on, how they could be impacted and whatnot, it changes the metric. You don't see smiles. You don't hear you don't really hear the laughter rate saying we still are very much restricted. So it's hard for me to say, but no matter what thing I know the most is that you can't take away socialization and expect it to stay gone. So it's going to come back, and we're going to see the experience be more important. And they're good people. I think the biggest thing is they just had a lot of money to buy shit. I mean, look at all the reports of all the major retailers and stuff. I mean, they killed it, especially the online ones. I mean, just look at Amazon in general, like, just exploded. People have enough shit, and they're really sick of buying shit. They want to go do stuff. And that, I think, is going to be what goes forward, is that people are going to value that time they have with other people. They're going to be, they may not be working in an office. So when they have the opportunity to go hang out with their coworkers or their friends, they're going to go hang out with people, because it's not like they're getting that socialization. Anybody that's raised a child can sympathize with this. Like, there's a point when you've spent like 2 days, you had like 2 days off straight, and all you did was spent time with this little child. And you're like, oh my God, I just want to talk to somebody who understands things.
So what would you say your mission is?
Oh man, to make people happy. Honestly, it's to create joy. Like, that's our thing, create joy, because happiness and joy are two very different things, right? I always use this analogy.
Well, hold this for a second though. Let's actually do this, because I'm going to ask you a lot about happiness in a minute. And I think if we do it here, it's going to be, is this the right spot to do it?
I don't know, you do you. I don't care. I'm in the river, Jerry. I'm just floating.
All right. We'll see how it works out. Let's keep going with what you were going to do.
Okay.
So happiness and joy.
I use the term happiness to describe something that makes me happy. Me happy may be, let's say, Jerry, you're racing around my go-kart track, and I come in and I throw a bunch of bottle rockets in front of you. I'm really happy. It's gonna be hilarious. You're probably not, right? Now, if I go in there and, I jump over, I get in a cart, we race each other, we have a good race, we bump each other a couple of times, and then when we're done, I pin you up against, we come to it, like, in pit one, we come into the pit, and I box you in so you can't get out of your cart, and I get up and I walk away or something like that. Like, now we're bantering, we're having fun, we're creating a connection, we're doing something together. And I'm having happiness as well. The difference between happiness and joy is joy requires connection. It requires social connection. That's what I'm there for. So if you go to High Caliber, everything is done in groups. There's no solo thing. Like, while you can choose to do the activity solo if you want to, like if you schedule it just right or whatever, you can do that. It's not designed for that. That's my whole purpose, is to create joy, where people, when they walk away, they go, that was fucking amazing. I had so much fun. And the people around them are sharing those smiles, and they have a memory. I had somebody the other day that was like, they did the rage room, and they're like, man, that was so cool. That was my bucket list. That was on my bucket list. I was like, oh my God, We're a bucket list for people. We have a thing that people say, before I die, I want to do this. That's what creating.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So what do you do every damn day to push that mission forward?
I've changed a lot since my injury and since COVID. I have subscribed to the idea of one in a row. Don't waste your time. You get up early. You continue moving. You stay positive. You watch for things that are worthless. Every person's listening to this. How many of you are proud of watching television? Are you really proud of it? Because I bet you're not. But you do it. You do it anyways. There's so much in this world to experience, and it's like literally just keep putting one foot in front of the other and ask yourself, is this what the foot I want to put in front of the other? Is this the right direction that I want to go? And all you need is one in a row. Every day, one in a row. Because what happened yesterday doesn't matter. That just happened. That's done. It does not matter. Today you could lose everything. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed. So you got one in a row.
I love it. I love being in the moment too.
Yeah.
So we daisy chain the shows together. So you have a question from the guest from yesterday, but because we were doing We Are the Fledge, we flipped the show yesterday, and David Smith interviewed me. So I'm passing a question through me to you. It's weird, but you get it.
I'm so excited that I get this.
So the question is, when you're 75 years old, what's the world around you kind of look like? What are a few things that, predictions or whatever?
Okay, so when I'm 75 years old, so we're looking at like 40 years from now. All right. What happened 40 years ago would have been the 80s, actually, would be. So I believe, so actually it was just, I was working on my cross cart in my shop. I was listening to an audiobook where they were talking about centennials, which, the 100 years is designed as the human life cycle of generation. Even though we're not, average living to 100 years, that's like how long a person can typically could live. Whatever. Yeah. Anyways, they talk about these 25-year repetitive cycles of different things of like, the regenerative economy and the fixers, and then the the people who, come out like, I've got change, we're going to fix this, whatnot. And they predicted that by 2025, we would have like, it was going to start in 2010, it was going to end in 2025, that there was going to be a change in civilization and culture based on prior incidences and timing and things like that. And they use examples of things like the Civil War, honestly, which is really fascinating to think about. Like, we are going through a very, very, very history-defining time. Maybe not so much that we chose war, but specifically, you could say, all right, we have a war on a plague or pandemic. So I believe that it's cycle. So if I think about what happened 40 years ago, it would be, or what's going to happen in 40 years, it should be similar to what happened, 60 years ago. So the 60s, oh my God, everybody's going to get high. Everybody is going to do a bunch of drugs, mushrooms, and acid, and we're going to have a psychedelic revolution.
Awesome. So that's 40 years. So I'll be 94. I'm in.
Dude, you're going to be the best 94-year-old hippie ever.
So tomorrow on the show, it's a gentleman I don't really know well yet. His name is Preston. He's a comedian. I think he's a full-time comedian. What question would you like to have me pass on to him?
I'm prepared for this. Hold on. Ready? What was his name?
His name is Preston.
Preston, my dear sir, I need you to really think deeply about this one. What noise does a giraffe make? Yeah. That's a tough one. Good luck with that, Preston.
Well, you know that I turned this on you. So I'm going to ask you the same question.
No idea. No idea, but you know what? I hope it's something like like a Yeti or something like that. Like, I'd love to see a giraffe bring back and be like, that's what I'd love to see.
I wonder how their long neck would make that sound, though. Would it
right?
sound like that?
Man.
They could probably do it. All right. This is an interesting question because we could teach a giraffe how to sing or something, and it could be really awesome. Ooh. Or I don't know.
They did that in a Disney movie. I think she was really popular.
I like this question. Nobody's asked this question before. Surprisingly, too. It seems like it would be a common question on the show. So you already explained what happiness is to you. Are you happy?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. There's a little bit about happiness, about being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want. And yeah, there's some restrictions and things like that. But like, I'm 33 and I'm retired. Like high caliber karting and combat karting is what I was doing in my spare time. It's what I would choose to do. If I really don't even get paid from it. I mean, I do, but it's not. Nobody would believe. Like, I don't care. I genuinely don't care. As long as I can continue doing what I'm doing right now, it's impossible for me to not be happy. When last year, when I had the dirt bike accident and whatnot, I was like, man, this is wonderful. Like, I'm going to learn so much from this, because it was like, I have such a great life. And it was amazing to watch how many people came out and supported me and took steps to move me forward. And I was like, man, this is just, I have such a wonderful life. I really am blessed. And like, you know, people, when they hear that, you know, like, oh, you use the term blessed, or you're religious. I'm like, no, but you know, I not by a specific religion, because if I pick a specific religion, I'm eliminating all of the others at that point. There's something, and honestly, whatever it is, I'm thankful that it's giving me what I got.
Yeah. So, what gives you hope?
Oh, man. You know, the amount of people that I do still see connection with. Actually, you know what? I'm pretty anti-vaccine about stuff. Like, or I shouldn't say I'm anti-vaccine. For me, I am. Like, I'm young. The likelihood of me having any consequences or anything from it doesn't make sense to do this, right? And I've been talking with a few people recently who were very much pro-vaccine. They got the vaccine, and I massively respect it. With both of them, I go, do you feel like just like invincible now? Like, you just feel like you got, you know, you've been in this cage for so long, and now you feel invincible. And both of them gave a couple of really good perspectives, but both of them teared up. And they both were like, I get to continue life, which tells me that like what it is right now, like that we're still in, we're not out of. And it's pretty good, honestly. Like, I'm having fun with connecting with people. I'm comfortable if I have to wear a mask into somewhere. We all have hope for the near future. We see, you know, things going the right direction. You know, Michigan, we're struggling a little bit, but we're starting to see that come back down now. And we have a plan, and we have a timeline and things like that. You know, and that, while the future is not guaranteed, those people were, you know, the biggest pandemic that came out of this pandemic was the amount of depression that happened. And those people were walking out of depression by getting that shot. So whether it, I mean, honestly, I don't give a shit if it works, whatever. I don't care. But people have hope and confidence in it. And seeing that happiness come, you know, a man who was 73 years old tell me, I don't have as many years left as you. I really just can't wait. I really don't want to spend it or waste another one of the few that I have left. And that, seeing people all just like, yeah, we're there, it's almost there. Everybody, there's not a single person that doesn't agree to that, gives me hope.
Awesome. I get my second Moderna shot tomorrow. You'll notice Moderna is now one of my pronouns, because we'll be introducing ourselves as, yeah, I'm Jerry. I got Moderna. I'm Bob. I got Johnson and Johnson. You know, and then we'll tease each other about the side of, oh, you pooped your pants then. You know, you know, I just see it being something like that.
Oh my God, that's interesting. I wonder why I logged S on Moderna. It wasn't capitals, so I wasn't really for sure. I was like, what is it? You know what? Maybe it's like something like, what's the old Latin? Like maybe it's Latin for he/him.
So, what do you want to take us out with? Or did we forget? We didn't put a website up, anything like that?
Oh God, just come play on Caliber. I mean, yeah, we have websites and things like that. Like, oh my God, come play. Like seriously, that's, you know, at some point in our life, we all went outside and we stopped playing with our friends. You know, it was the last time we played with our friends, and we didn't ever really think about that. You know, it was no longer play dates. It was, now I have to be an adult. And, you know, I remember growing up, there was always this, like when I was a freshman, I looked at the seniors, I'm like, man, they're big kids, right? When do you stop being a big kid? It's when you make the decision to stop playing. Then you're an adult. And that's what, like, I want everybody in here, just come play. I'd love to see you there. I'd love to see you have fun. Grab somebody by the hand and pull them in there. Try out combat karting. You won't try it anywhere else in the world. Tell me it sucks. Tell me you love it. I don't care. I hope you just get to experience it.
So many people on the show talk about the loss of play and how they want to get back to it. So definitely go play at High Caliber Karting. I've had a blast every time I've been there. There's a lot to do, right? We talked about fire or axe throwing and everything.
Yeah.
What would you like to take us out with?
Man, I didn't put any thought into that. God, I guess go play. I mean, really, that's really what it is. It's all I'm thinking about with everything right now. And that's just what I want to encourage everybody is that, like, you can, whether depending on, like, where your comfort level is, there's so many different ways to do it, but there's nothing more important than it right now. Just go play. Whether it's at High Caliber or whether it's outdoors, whether it's with your kids or it's your best friends or something like that, or whether it's with somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time, go play. But I'm Jordan Munsters, and that is my out.
Thank you so very much. I don't think there's a better out. I think I'm going to go play, actually, this afternoon. So I love you a lot. I don't know if everybody knows that you and I talk quite a bit, and I have so much respect for you. And I think you and I are a good yin and yang sometimes, because people will probably watch the show and say, that doesn't seem like, a bunch of stuff Jerry's working on, but it is. And you and I have great discussions. And let's go back to the vaccine for a second. I'm in a different spot than you are, and you and I will have a dialogue about these things. We're not going to fight. We're not going to ban each other from Facebook. We're not going to, never talk to each other again because you'll
probably convince me of a lot of things I never thought about. That's what usually happens when we talk. I'm like, oh, damn, I didn't think about that.
Well, I think it's symbiotic, though. I don't do non-symbiotic relationships. So I always find that, and you always bring something to the table, get me thinking, get me introduced to a new concept. And I really appreciate you for that. But I also think we could be the microcosm for people that don't always get along, but that respect each other enough to have the conversation. So I've not told anybody, go get a vaccine, though, probably in my heart, that's what I would like people to do. What I've really told them is you have to decide, you have to learn for yourself what is best for you. And the best thing you can do besides getting a vaccine is keep talking about vaccines, COVID, how you're going to protect yourself.
Seek the truth. Don't seek being right.
That's right. That's right. All right, man. Thank you so very much for coming on the show. Tomorrow, every damn day you were show 218, by the way. So we've got 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are high score for 24 more hours. So 147, 47 more 47 more to go. So, all right. We will see. What's that?
Thanks for having me, Jerry. I love you, man.
Of course. I love you too. Talk to you later. See you all later. Bye-bye.